Welcome to this tutorial on how to install Pattoo. You've probably seen many of the other videos that speak about how Pattoo operates, but in this video we're going to show you how to actually do the installation. So the first thing that I recommend that you do is to go to our GitHub account. Go to github.com/palisados Foundation, which you can see right here. When you go there, you will see the home page and you will find our major projects and major repositories that are listed. Here we have Talawa API, and a number of various Pattoo type of or related projects. And one of them, of course, is Pattoo, which is the main API that we're going to be working with. And so everything revolves around the central API. And so the very first thing we're going to install is Pattoo. So if you click on the link that you see on the home page for repositories, you'll actually get to this page, and where you'll see all the code that is required for you to get Pattoo up and running. Now, we're going to show you how to install it very quickly, and we'll have references to this very shortly. But I just wanted to let you be aware of where you can go and what to expect. And then on every single one of the Pattoo repositories, there's a link at the very top in which you can get more information about all the various Pattoo projects. If you click on this link, you'll actually get to this tab in which you'll come to the main Pattoo website. It'll have an introduction as to what it can do. It'll talk about the version information. There's a video that will allow you to see what Pattoo does, and it's available on YouTube. And it'll give you a very brief description of how Pattoo operates. And then at the very bottom, it'll go into the documentation for each of the various Pattoo components. And here you can see you can have a link to the server documentation, the agents documentation, etc. So let's go to the Pattoo server documentation. And so when you click on the link that was there on the previous page, you come to this one. There'll be a description of what Pattoo is all about, and then you can go to the basic installation page. And so when you go to the basic installation page, this is what we see. This is where the command line comes in very useful. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to follow these steps, step by step, and then from there show you how Pattoo works and operates on a day-to-day basis. So let's get started. Ready? All right, let's go. So the first thing we're going to do is to try and make a directory where we're going to install Pattoo. So in this particular case, we're going to try and create a directory called /opt/demo. All right, so here I am. I'm on in my home system, and I'm going to try to make this directory. Now, I know that the /opt directory is owned by root, and it's going to be a little difficult for me to do this as a personal user, so I'm going to use sudo, and I'm going to do sudo make dir /opt/demo. It's going to prompt me for my password, and I'm going to stick it in. And then when I do a ls/opt, let me make this a little bit bigger for everybody to see. You will see that there is a demo location. So let's cd/opt, and just to be on the safe side, let's take a look at the ownership of those directories. And so here you'll notice that demo is owned by root, and we don't want that. We want this to be owned by your own personal user. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to change owner to, in this particular case, the username is Peter/opt/demo. Oops, we need to make sure that that's done by sudo once again. All right, so then when we do the ll of there, we can see that demo is now owned by Peter. So you're now going to go into that directory, cd/opt/demo, and there we are. Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen so that it looks a little more cleaner for everybody. And then let's go back to the installation. So we've done this, we've made a directory, we've now also gone into the directory, and now we're going to try and clone the directory. So how do we clone it? So let's go back to the repository for Pattoo. This is the one, Palisados Foundation Pattoo. And you click on this button, but we don't click on it directly. We're going to click on this little down arrow. And in this particular case, we're going to use HTTPS, and we're going to take this link that we see here. All right, we can copy that. And then we go back to this directory. And if you take a look, there's nothing there. It's all empty. But then if I do git clone and then use that link, this is what we get. It downloads the code from GitHub, and then now when I do ls again, bingo, you can see that Pattoo is available. All right, so now let's go to the next stage. So we've got the code, and we're going to the basic installation. So we've done this step, as you can see, step number 3. And then we're going to enter that directory, and we're going to install all the pip packages. So we're going to do pip3 install / user requirements pip requirements.txt. So let's go into that directory, cd pattoo, and let's just take a look at that pip requirements documentation. So we're going to do an ls. You can see that we have the same directories that you saw in the repository. So here you can see we have a bin, we have examples, log, pat, pattoo, setup, bin, daemon, etc., pattoo, etc. All right, log. And then we have this file. So let's take a look at that. So let's this file. And you can see this has a list of packages that we're going to be needing in order for Pattoo to be working. And so there's Pattoo shared, there's PyYAML, PyYAML by MySQL, etc., etc. Okay, so we're going to need to install all these packages. So in order to do that, we're going to run that command that we saw previously here, pip3 install. So we don't want to use the $sign. We just want the command itself. And so here we go. And boom. And it's going through installing the information as we speak. All done. Let's see if it actually works properly. Yep, it looks like it's all done. Just wanted to make sure. And so we've done that. Now, the next thing we want to do is that we want to create the database. Now, if you haven't been or you haven't used MySQL or MariaDB, I would suggest that you get some understanding of how to use it. We've previously installed MariaDB in this particular system, and we're going to go through these steps and create the database. So I'm going to copy this information here. This tells you how to create the database, and I'm going to do something a little different. The reason why I'm going to change some of this stuff is because I already have a working Pattoo system, and I want to make a brand new database just for the purposes of this demonstration. So I've made my changes. I've changed the Pattoo database name to Pattoo Demo, and I've changed the password to Demo on YouTube. So let's copy this information and go back to our root user. And so in order to get the information for the database, we're going to run the MySQL command. Works when I spell it correctly. And we're going to run those commands. But first, I'm going to show you that there's no database that's called Pattoo _ demo at the moment. So let's do show databases. And there's nothing called Pattoo _ demo. There's Pattoo and Pattoo unit tests because this is a system that I use for development. But there's nothing called Pattoo _ demo. So let's paste that information. And then when we do the show databases, oops, let's go back in there, show databases this time, you can see that Pattoo demos suddenly appeared where it wasn't there before. All right, so the next thing is that we're going to go and take a look at what the next set of the processes. So we have created the database, and we're going to go to the configuration guide to get some additional information. So when you go to the configuration guide, you will see that you're going to have to export an environmental variable. So in this particular case, we're going to make sure that the environmental variable is the environmental variable for where we're going to be keeping our configuration directory. So we're going to talk about that very shortly. So let's create the environmental variable. So we're going to paste this information, and we are going to make sure that this is going to go to /opt/demo/ etc. Now we're in /opt/demo already, and there should only be the um, the Pattoo directory. So let's do an ls. There's only Pattoo, as you can see. And so we're going to do a make dir, etc. Or we may not even need to do that. Let's see if it works without it. So let's do ls. And if you want to make sure that this environmental variable has been created, you can type the env command and then grep for Pattoo config directory, and there you see it. All right, so it's going to create this directory when the time comes. All right, so let's go back here. And then once you've set up this exported environmental variable, then you can install it using one of two methods, either the quick method or the expert method. We're going to use a quick method because we want to make this video very short, but if you have any questions about the contents of the various configuration files that this configuration script is going to create, well, go to the configuration uh, page and take a look at all the various parameters that are there. But we're not going to talk about that because we want to make this very quick, and we're going to run the setup config script in the Pattoo directory. So where are we now? So ls, we're here. I'm going to cd into Pattoo. Okay, and there are all our files. And we're going to look at the setup directory. And you'll see that there's a configured file. And so we're just going to run that. And first thing, it says that it's going to create this opt demo, etc. Pattoo YAML file. And it's going to ask you where the cache directory is. Well, it says here it wants to put it in my home directory, and I don't really want to do that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to cache. It's going to ask me for the daemon directory, and I'm going to make this daemon. And the language is in that, and then I'm going to make the log file /log. I'm going to make this a little smaller, so it's going to be easier. Then we're going to use the defaults for almost everything else until we get to the database. So let's take a look for the database. Here we go. Database host name is localhost. That is true. The max overflow value, that's defaulted, works fine. The database name. What was the database name that we gave it? So we gave it Pattoo underscore demo. I'm going to use that. The password was demo on YouTube. And you put that there. Of course, if you're doing your own password, you'd want to use uppercase, lowercase, special characters, etc. The pool size would be the default, and then Pattoo underscore demo would be the username that we had created before. And all of this other stuff is going to be standard. All right, so it says that we've successfully created the configuration files. And so let's take a look at this information here. So we cat that file. There's the information. If you want to know what all of this stuff means, go to the configuration guide in the expert section and get an idea as to what that means. And then we're going to cat this other file here, which is the server information. And boom, there's some additional information that is going to be of interest to you. All right. So let's go back to the installation. We've done the configuration guide stuff, and now we're going to do the actual installation. So here we go. We're in the same directory. Let's make sure there's a setup directory, and we're going to run that command. And it's going to install a bunch of files that we had. It's going to make sure that the pip requirements document has been used to install the various Python packages, and then it goes through and says, well, hooray, everything's okay. And then it says, let's start the various daemons that are required. This is the API daemon for that agents are going to use. This is the daemon that's going to be running to accept the information from the daemons and put it in the database. And then this one is the API that's going to be used by the web app, which we're going to show you very shortly. All right, so let's take a look and let's run this command. Now, if you run it without any parameters, it's going to tell you, oh, I need some parameters. So let's do this with a / start. But before I do that, let's see whether there's anything running with the name Pattoo. So I'm going to do this, psaux, which is process show and lots of information there. And we're going to do Pattoo. I'm going to grep for Pattoo. And there's nothing except for me grepping for Pattoo. All right, so now we're going to run this command once again. And we're going to do dash dash start. If you wanted to stop it, you do dash dash stop. If you want to get a status, it's dash dash status, restart, etc. It's fairly straightforward. Then we run the PSAUX, and oh, lo and behold, we see that we have the Pattoo API agent D stuff. All right, so now let's run the next one if you're feeling daring. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do dash dash start. And this time we're going to grep for Pattoo underscore ingester D. And there we can see that it's there. And then we're going to do the final one, which is bin Pattoo API dy dash dash start. And when we take a look on that, you can see that API ID is running. All right, so we see that all of these various APIs and daemons are running. Now let's take a look and see, how do we know that everything is really working well? All right, so let's go up on directory. All of a sudden you see that in addition to the etc directory, we've created the cache directory, the daemon directory, the log directory. The purposes of all these directories are in the configuration expert section of the documentation, but let's take a look at the log directory most importantly. So ls log, and we see that we have these different files. So let's this one, log Pattoo API log, and this is the file that has information related to the APIs, information related to HTTP gets and requests, etc. And you'll see that we have information regarding the various agents that are running. And there's nothing unusual in this file. It shows you some of the configuration parameters for the various APIs that are running. You can see that this API D, has a PID file in this directory, which is in the opt demo daemon directory. The daemon directory stores um, process information that's very important. And so that's some information that's there. And there's a bunch of other stuff that is just generally informational. You can see that it's telling you that we are logging to this very same file that we're looking at. All right, so let's take a look at the next one, which is of interest. We're going to look at the daemon log. And you'll see similar information. I think we just did the daemon log before. It's very similar. And then finally, we're going to look at Pattoo log. And here, we're going to see more interesting information. This is information that's related to all the general operational. The previous two files that I showed you were related to things that would be errors upon startup or shutdown. This is going to be the file with information about general operation as things are happening. The file will normally start with the date and time and then be followed by other information. Generally speaking, info type messages are general information that you should not be really worried about. There are also debug messages that you may be interested in, but they're more informational. You really want to be looking out if there's anything wrong for messages that are critical or warning, anything that's not debug or info. That's the type of information that you may be looking for as well. And there could be information that's in the info and debug lines because of that may be interesting because of maybe a misconfiguration. Things may be not working right, but there are no actual outright errors. Take a look at this information. We try as much as possible to make sure that we log as much of information as possible to make it very, very useful. Okay, and let's see if there's any other information. Oh, yes. We are going to take a look at to see whether the agents are actually running on the various ports. So if you do the netstat command, ANT, T is for TCP, and we're going to grep for port 2020. Pattoo runs on port 2021, 2022, to 200. And so when you do this, you'll see that the first two are actually running on 2021 and 2022. The 2200 is being used by the web API, the web app, and we'll talk about that at some future time. And so that's it. It's running, it's working, and you can look at the documentation for additional information. But that's it in total. Thank you very much for listening to this demo, and I hope that you'll return to take a look and see how you can configure the Pattoo agents and configure the web application as well. Thank you very much.